Hi dear friends and subscribers, welcome to the Cricket Happening Show. Unfortunately today it has been pretty late in the day. Reason being, as we know, I mean in Canada we have been having some lot of snowstorms happening, and unfortunately there was some outage in the area, and I couldn't really get onto this YouTube broadcast. In fact, we just got the connection right now, so that's the precise reason I'm here once again with your favorite show, the Cricket Happening Show. Well, what I'm going to do is basically I'm not going to go into lots of details here. We are going to talk about the fourth one-day international which took place yesterday between Australia and West Indies. It was for West Indies were the ones who were under pressure, and they had to actually salvage something to get at least one win under their belt. But in fact, it was on the. West Indies didn't put up a good batting performance, barring Kieron Pollard, who went on to make a very well-made 109 of 136 balls with 11 fours and 2 sixes. It was a very good innings. We'll talk about that. But West Indies were the ones who actually won the toss, and they elected to bat, and they couldn't make use of the good conditions there. And the only thing that was there in the pitch at the Sydney Cricket Ground was that there was some good bounce, and that's what the left-arm seamer Mitchell Johnson and also Faulkner, well, he did his job. Ben Cutting was pretty impressive. He had lots of wickets with his bounce there. And in fact, West Indies, Darren Sammy won the toss and elected to bat, and they were in a very sorry state. In fact, Chris Gale yesterday was not there. His place was taken by Johnson Charles. So Kieron Powell and Johnson Charles opened the innings, and in fact Australia won this match by 5 wickets in the end. Kieron Powell, well, the first to go was Johnson Charles. Mitchell Johnson was the one who started everything for the Australians. First he went on to dismiss Johnson Charles, the opener, as Johnson Charles was clean bowled by Mitchell Johnson for a duck. So that was the first wicket to go. After that, Mitchell Johnson dismissed Kieron Powell, as Kieron Powell got an edge and Glenn Maxwell took the catch, and he was gone for 9 of 29 balls, which made the score 17 for 2. And after that, the next wicket to go was Darren Bravo. Now Johnson took the top 3. If you look at it, the top 3 was wiped off by Mitchell Johnson, and Mitchell Johnson was absolutely on fire, as Darren Bravo got a ball, and he was caught by Finch of the bowling of Johnson for 4, and West Indies were placed at 17 for 3 at that stage. And there were more problems to follow for West Indies, as Glenn Maxwell, who was pressed into the attack by Michael Clarke, immediately responded by getting the wicket of Dwayne Bravo, who was gone. It was a straighter one. It was LBW bowled Maxwell for 3, and that made it 22 for 4. 22 for 4, Kieron Pollard was the man in the middle, and he had Narsingh Deonarayan for company. But once Mitchell Johnson did his job, as I said, there was some bounce in the pitch. There was definitely some bounce in the pitch. And Ben Cutting, after the way he bowled, it was very nice to see Ben Cutting. I thought Ben Cutting bowled splendidly, even though Mitchell Johnson he shown himself with 10 overs, 1 maiden, 36 runs and 3 wickets. I thought Ben Cutting also did a fine job, because what job Mitchell Johnson did at the start, in fact, he gave further impetus to that by getting the wickets. In fact, Kieron Pollard was there at the crease. Narsingh Deonarayan was the next to go. He was caught by Finch, fished at one outside the off stump. The ball really bounced. He was caught Finch bowled Cutting for 10 of 16 balls with 1 4. Devon Thomas also went back to the pavilion, caught by Finch of the bowling of Cutting for 7, and that made the score look at a very ragged score at the time, 55 for 6, and it required someone to stay at the crease, and Kieron Pollard was there, and Kieron Pollard was joined in by the West Indian captain Darren Sammy. Now what Kieron Pollard did was he eschewed all his big strokes, and he started staying at the wicket. Darren Sammy and Kieron Pollard slowly started pushing the score along with only hitting the loose balls. And Kieron Pollard, I would say this was a very good innings from him, because he was the one who was responsible for West Indies getting away from such a ragged score of 55 for 6. And in the end, because of Kieron Pollard, who made 109 unbeaten runs when West Indies reached 220, they played their entire quota. In fact, they were just 2 balls short. And the good thing for Kieron Pollard was he got good company from Darren Sammy, the captain, who stayed there for some time, but he was gone. He was a victim of a real ball that bounced from Cutting. And Cutting, he has a very good bowling action, I thought. And the way he bowled, Darren Sammy got an edge, and he was snapped up by Michael Clarke. The ball really bounced on Darren Sammy, and he was gone for 25. But the good thing about West Indies was that the lower order supported Kieron Pollard very well. So that enabled Kieron Pollard to just stay at the crease, make sure that West Indies play out the full 50 overs. He was there, and it was very good to see Kieron Pollard playing a very, very matured knock, because he also got himself into form, which was very, very good for West Indies. And he decided to really play percentage strokes, and only towards the end of the innings he really started to blossom and started hitting 2 sixes. He hit 1 6 of the bowling of Clint McKay. I thought he also hit, if I'm not wrong, he had one more bowler for a 6. But the good thing for Kieron Pollard was he got good company from Darren Sammy, the captain, who made 25, 42 balls with 3 fours. Andre Russell chipped in with 18 of 17 balls with 1 4 and 1 6. And Sunil Narine, who the other day, as you know, he cracked 4 consecutive sixes of Glenn Maxwell, really seems to have that ability in him to actually stay at the wicket, and that's what he precisely did. He contributed 23 of 22 balls with 3 fours. Tino Best was run out at the end, and it left Kieron Pollard with an unbeaten 109 to his credit. What a knock it was! It was a real non-Pollard knock, because Pollard normally likes to really be pretty aggressive, but he really realized the importance of his staying at the crease and playing out. That's what shows real maturity in Kieron Pollard. Well, it is to be expected from Kieron Pollard, because he has been in the West Indies team for quite a long time, and people expect a lot of things from him. And I thought Kieron Pollard really redeemed himself by playing such a wonderful knock. What an unbeaten knock it was! 109 not out to his name of 136 balls. One might rarely find Kieron Pollard getting runs above the number of balls. Now that's what was surprising. But under the circumstances, Kieron Pollard did a wonderful job to not only bail out the West Indies out of trouble, but take them to a respectable score of 220. It was quite different that Australia could usurp that score pretty quickly, in a nice manner. They already had a chance. Kieron Pollard then unbeaten 109 of 136 balls, 11 fours and 2 sixes. 220 was the final score for West Indies. With the bowling figures, Mitchell Johnson stood out, 10 overs, 1 maiden, 36 runs and 3 wickets. And the wickets were, and Ben Cutting also equally shared the wickets with Mitchell Johnson. 10 overs, 1 maiden, 45 runs and 3 wickets. He was also superb. Clint McKay, 10 overs, 2 maidens, 1 for 41 for him. And then Glenn Maxwell, 10 overs, no maiden, 1 for 34, bowled economically. James Faulkner, the left-hand seamer, was pretty unimpressive yesterday. He leaked a lot of runs, 9.4 overs, 1 maiden, 62 runs and only 1 wicket. But well, every bowler has his off day, so James Faulkner definitely had an off day yesterday. But that really didn't matter, because, as I said, Australia went on to win the match. As far as Australia were concerned, they started off with their openers, and once again Aaron Finch, after hitting 5 fours in a knock of 25, was a victim to Sunil Narine for 25, 30 balls with 5 fours. That was the first wicket to go. After that, Philip Hughes joined Shane Watson. Shane Watson continued to impress. Definitely his confidence would have been boosted a great deal after actually having a century under his belt on the previous one-day international. So today he was once again playing some strokes with lots of confidence. Philip Hughes was also giving him company. Philip Hughes was pretty sedate at the time, and this went on before Phil Hughes was a victim of Sunil Narine. Sunil Narine took his second wicket, and Sunil Narine once again was very economical. He had 10 overs, 1 maiden, 34 runs with 2 wickets. He took the wicket of Philip Hughes, who was caught by Bravo of the bowling of Narine for 23 of 44 balls with 2 fours. After that, Shane Watson, after making a very neat knock of 76 of just 84 deliveries with 9 boundaries, was a victim of Tino Best, as he was caught by Devon Thomas, the wicketkeeper. 145 for 3. Then it was Adam Vokes and Michael Clarke at the crease. Adam Vokes, on his return to the Australian team, contributed 28 runs of 39 balls. with 2 fours. He was caught by Sammy at the bowling of Russell. And Michael Clarke, just towards the end, when Australia were just getting to the victory mark, Michael Clarke's wicket was gone as he was caught by Thomas at the bowling of Best for 37 of 65 balls with 1 4. In the end, it was Matthew Wade who started off with a brilliant 6 of the very first ball he faced. After that, Glenn Maxwell was not out on 1. Matthew Wade was not out on 13 of 7 balls with 1 4 and 1 6. And Australia had gone over the line. They had actually, they made sure. I mean, they already taken the series, but now the Australians' eyes would definitely be set on clean sweeping the series 5-0, because yesterday's victory over West Indies by 5 wickets gave them a 4-0 lead in the one-day series. As far as the bowling figures were concerned, Tino Best 9.5 overs, no maiden, 38 runs and 2 wickets. I thought he bowled well. It was good to see Tino Best bowl in the one-day international. Andre Russell 6 overs for 40 runs, 1 wicket. He was pretty costly. Sammy 2 overs, only bowled 2 overs, giving away 16 runs. Sunil Narine, as I said, even though West Indies have lost the 4 one-day international, the good thing for West Indies have been Sunil Narine's bowling. Again, pretty economical and also taking 2 wickets. 10 overs, 1 maiden, 34 runs and 2 wickets. Dwayne Bravo bowled 4 overs in which he gave away 25 runs. Narsingh Dinara yesterday was included. Couldn't do much of the bat. Even with the bat ball, he couldn't take the wickets. But I thought he still bowled well. 8 overs, no maiden, none for 38. And 5 overs for 22 for Kieron Pollard, who actually got a century yesterday. But all in all, for West Indies, I think it is going to be a hunt for them, because there's the final one-day international which is coming up, and that would be that last opportunity for West Indies to at least leave Australia with at least 1 win under the belt. They definitely have the solitary T20 to come, but I don't think West Indies should be leaving anything to chance, and they should. I'm sure they would be trying to at least get 1 win under the belt. But unfortunately for West Indies, Chris Gale's injury problems, Chris Gale's form has been pretty poor, and that has been really contributing factor according to me, because if Chris Gale could really fire on all cylinders, I think this West Indian unit would be absolutely galvanized. But unfortunately, it's not so. But all in all, well, it was a good match. Australia, Kieron Pollard putting a very good saving effort for his team, but to no avail, because Australia actually went away with the match and had a 5-wicket victory and taking a 4-0 lead in the series. As I said, the 5th one-day international is coming up. Australia will definitely be eyeing a clean sweep of the one-day series, but as far as West Indies are concerned, they would be just be praying that they could at least win one match over here, because at least in this one-day international, but they still have the T20 to go. They are the T20 World Cup champions, but I don't think West Indies would be leaving anything to chance, and they would be trying to pull their resources together and see to it that they put it across Australia in the final one-day international which is coming up. Well, so that is the news as far as this particular one-day international match is concerned. The other news that I have is later on in the day we have the I'm not going to do any previews here. We have the first T20 match which is going to be played between England and New Zealand. So that is starting today. So I'm sure everyone would be eyeing it. So probably the report would be a bit late in the day tomorrow. As you know, Saturday I come up with a late report. So that is coming up, and that should be a good game, because if one understands, England and New Zealand were the ones who were pushed out of the T20 pretty quickly in the T20 World Cup, and I'm sure New Zealand would be absolutely buoyed with the fact that they have put up a great performance of going to South Africa and winning the series against South Africa in the one-day international series. Even in the last one-day international, South Africa had to really, just because of Graham Smith's century, they could actually win this match. But it was a pretty close match, and New Zealand were really sensing some victory. So New Zealand, I'm sure they would be pretty happy with their performance. That would have given them a real confidence booster. And not only that, they would be looking forward, because they are going to be playing in front of the home crowd. They know the conditions better. And as far as England are concerned, for England, well, they have lots of things to do. It would be very interesting. I think the match should be pretty interesting. And because England are also stocked with a lot of good all-rounders, they have some attractive batsmen to come. And Ross Taylor coming into the New Zealand team is going to further strengthen the New Zealand team. So I think we are going to have a good game on hand. So the first T20 coming up between England and New Zealand, for which the report will be filed tomorrow. Well, that's it from me, your host Ram, with this late cricket happening show today. Your host Ram is signing off for the day. Thank you.